15 grazing reserves are being prepared by the federal government under the National Livestock Transformation Plan. It was also gathered that 22 states had so far shown interest in the livestock program that aims to address the incessant clashes between herders and farmers across the country. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agriculture, Andrew Kwasari, who coordinates the NLTP, told reporters on Friday that some participating states had already commenced training for the implementation of the scheme. On the 13th of February 2021, the federal government announced that it had commenced the implementation of the NLTP and also disclosed that 20 governors had shown interest in the program at the time. Well, let's take you to Nasarawa State now, where the police command on Saturday confirmed that suspected bandits have killed Mohammed Hussaini, the state chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN. A statement by the command's public relations officer, ASP Rahman Nansel in Lafia, said the bandits also killed the MACBAN chairman of Toto local government area, Mohammed Umar, during the attack. The Commissioner of Police, Bola Longe, said he swiftly deployed troops of Operation Puff Adder 2 personnel to the scene of the attack on Friday at about 7:30 p.m. in Garaku Market, Kokona local government area. Troops recovered the corpses of the MACBAN leaders and took them to the hospital for a post-mortem. Meanwhile, Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State Branch, has condemned the killing of Fulani Ados and destruction of livestock of innocent people by unprovoked attacks carried out allegedly by Atiap chiefdom communities in Zangon Kataf local government area of the state. The killings came on the heels of several peace efforts initiated by concerned stakeholders of Fulani, Hausa, and Atiap ethnic groups in Zangon Kataf and environs in the state. Addressing a press conference in Kaduna, the Director, Media and Publicity of the association, Ibrahim Bayero, said several attacks were launched.
What concerns us is that this wanton killing that came up after a series of negotiations and after long processes that we have been embarked with all the stakeholders. We are appealing to the leaders of this Atiap, that is Katap, as a community, to make sure that they go down and interact with their subjects to preach peace to them so that they comply with whatever that is reached.
And on to a story we have been following. The Nigerian Air Force has dismissed the claim by Boko Haram insurgents that they downed the missing NAF Alpha Jet. The Director of Public Relations and Information, NAF Headquarters, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, described it as fake, the videos being circulated on the social media by the insurgents. In one of the videos, several terrorists, including underage children on motorcycles and vehicles, were seen sporadically shooting at an aircraft. Gapquet accused the insurgents of doctoring the videos and showing a scene of an exploding aircraft mid-air, supposedly as a result of an enemy action. Over now to Osun State, where government has launched a rider's jacket and identity card to ease identification of motorcyclists and tricycles in Osun. Now, Governor Oyetola said it was important to identify them and sanitize their operations. This report has more.
Residents of Osun State commute regularly by motorcycle because it's fast and affordable. Despite the popularity of motorcycles, this sector of transportation has been unregulated. That's why the Osun State government has launched a means of identification to ensure regulation of riders and security of passengers.
Non-regulation of the activities has also brought in unlicensed and unskilled people into your fold. As a government that has responsibility for ensuring the security and safety of our citizens, we cannot stand by and watch our citizens suffer untold hardship. We are convinced that in order to maximize the usefulness of the activities as an association, and rescue our people from needless accidents and pains, we need to regulate the activities.
On his part, the special advisor to the governor on works and transportation urged all riders in Osun to collaborate with the state government to make the initiative a success.
I would like to appeal to all Okada and Keke Napep operators in the state of Osun to cooperate with the government and all the allied agencies in the bid to sanitize their operations with a view to securing the lives and properties of our people.
All motorcycle and tricycle operators are currently registering their information in the Osun State database. When the exercise is complete, they will be required to wear their identification jackets and carry their identification cards at all times.
And now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has urged the Nigerians to use the occasion of Easter to pray for Nigeria's unity and for peace to return to the country. In his Easter message, the People's Democratic Party, PDP stalwart, said, Easter is not only the time to be merry, but also the time to reflect on love and sacrifice. He said, quote, love, because God says we should love our neighbors as ourselves, and sacrifice, because love is hardly practicable without an intention to make it a sacrifice. Atiku also hailed health workers who, like the example set by Jesus Christ, sacrificed their lives in battling the virus. And also, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has urged Christian faithful to emulate Jesus Christ by making sacrifices that will advance the cause of national development. Wike said this in his Easter message signed by his special assistant on media, Kevin Ibiri, in Port Harcourt on Saturday. He called on the people of Rivers to rededicate themselves to the service of the state as they reflected on the ideals of Good Friday and Easter celebration. Wike also assured residents that he would continue to make sacrifices for the state, defend its interest, and ensure that the people enjoyed good governance. Well, turning to other stories now, the Pan-Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere says it is devastated by the death of his publicity secretary, Yinka Odumaki. Its Secretary General, Bashirun Shinde, described it as a terrible blow to him because they were intimate. He said Yinka was his right-hand man in Afenifere management and that Nigeria has lost a brilliant chap with intelligent and brilliant ideas. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has mourned the late spokesman of Afenifere, Yinka Odumaki. Buhari expressed his condolences to Odumaki's family in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina. In the statement, President Buhari noted that Odumaki was dutiful and a man of conviction who contributed value to Nigeria. Odumaki had served as a spokesman for President Buhari when he contested the 2011 presidential election on the platform of the Congress for Progressive Change. The president prayed God to grant repose to the soul of the departed activist. Also, ex-Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan has expressed sadness over the death of the spokesman of Afenifere, Yinka Odumaki, and described it as shocking. Jonathan said Odumaki was a courageous patriot and rights crusader who contributed so much to the development of the nation. The former president expressed his grief in a condolence message to the family of late Odumaki titled "A Great Voice for Equity is Gone." He described Odumaki as a man with rich democratic credentials who played active roles in the years of activism that birthed and stabilized civil rule in our country. He sent his condolences to his wife, Dr. Joe K. Odumaki, other members of his family, the Afenifere Social Cultural Association, and the entire civil society. Well, health concerns now. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 50 new cases of COVID-19 in 6 states. The NCDC made the announcement on Saturday night while giving an update on its official Twitter account. According to the new figure, Nigeria's total number of infections is now 163,113. Well, to other parts of Africa now, Somalia's army says soldiers had killed scores of Al-Shabaab gunmen who attacked 2 key military bases, while police said 5 civilians died in a suicide bombing in Mogadishu. In a particularly bloody day for Somalia, where the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab launches regular attacks against government and civilian targets, both sides claimed they had inflicted heavy casualties on the other. And outside Africa now, Pope Francis has called on the faithful not to lose hope in the protracted COVID-19 crisis. About 200 faithful and clergy joined in the service. Only a limited number of people were allowed to attend as a precaution to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Christians commemorate the resurrection of Jesus Christ during the Easter weekend. At the beginning of Saturday's vigil service, the pontiff carried the Easter candle, the light of Christ, into the dark St. Peter's Basilica. For devout Christians, Easter is the most important feast in the church year. And now, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp has said he will not back down. This comes as Major League Baseball Commissioner Robert Manfred ordered the sport to relocate its 2021 All-Star Game and amateur player draft out of Atlanta in protest over Georgia's new voting restrictions. Georgia last week strengthened identification requirements for absentee ballots, shortened early voting periods for runoffs, and made it a crime to offer food and water to voters waiting in line. The voting law faces legal challenges from civil rights groups and others who say it aims to suppress voting among black people and other racial minorities who tend to vote Democratic.
We will not be intimidated, and we will also not be silenced. Major League Baseball, Coca-Cola, and Delta may be scared of Stacey Abrams, Joe Biden, and the left, but I am not, and we are not as well. Yesterday, Major League Baseball caved to fear and lies from liberal activists. They ignored the facts of our new election integrity law, and they ignored the consequences of their decision on our local community. In the middle of a pandemic, Major League Baseball put the wishes of Stacey Abrams and Joe Biden ahead of the economic well-being of hard-working Georgians who are counting on the All-Star Game for a paycheck. Georgians and all Americans should know what this decision means. It means cancel culture and partisan activists are coming for your business. They're coming for your game or event in your hometown.
Well, business news now. The World Bank has said that Nigeria moved out of recession faster than its forecasts had predicted. Following a 6.1% year-on-year contraction in 2020 second quarter, Nigeria's economy contracted by 3.6% in 2020, the third quarter, and expanded by 0.1% in the fourth quarter of 2020. Moving out of recession faster than expected, the bank said in Africa's Pulse, a biannual analysis of the near-term macroeconomic outlook for the region, published in April. Meanwhile, the IMF on Friday approved a $2.34 billion aid package to Kenya to address the urgent need to reduce debt vulnerabilities. The institution said in a statement. The Washington-based development lender said the funds will be spread over 38 months with an immediate disbursement of about $307.5 million usable for budget support. Well, entertainment news now. Celebrity publications TMZ and Billboard popular rapper actor Earl Simmons, known to his fans by the stage name DMX or Dark Man X, is in grave condition in a New York hospital after suffering a heart attack triggered by an apparent drug overdose. The publications reported that Simmons, 50, who has had a public history of substance abuse, suffered a heart attack at his home about 11 p.m. on Friday. His publicist did not immediately respond to reporters for comment on the singer, who has been a fixture in the music world since the 1990s. And to some sports news now, Manchester United goalkeeper David De Gea is set to leave Old Trafford at the end of the season with a big payoff to cut his contract at the club early as Dean Henderson officially becomes manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice keeper. According to the Mirror, De Gea and three other senior keepers, Sergio Romero, Lee Grant and Joel Pereira, are expected to be let go at the end of the season. Man United are ready to part ways with De Gea and want to get his eye-watering £350,000 a week wages off their books. Well, that wraps it up for us this hour. For more, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. Well, we'll be back shortly with more stories. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I am Vivian Oguche.
The Nigerian music industry has witnessed growth over the years, and with this growth, a rise in international visibility and dominance. A Grammy Award is any of a series of awards presented each year in the United States by either the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences or the Latin Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. The Grammys, as they are commonly known, are meant to recognize spectacular work in the music industry. In light of Burna Boy and Wizkid becoming the latest Nigerian Grammy Award-winning entertainers, let's take a look at a list of Nigerians who have won a Grammy Award. Sikiru Adekpoju is a percussionist and recording artist and plays primarily in the genres of traditional African music and world music. He plays a variety of instruments and styles. In 1991, he won his first Grammy as part of Mickey Hart's group, Planet Drum, whose title album won the Grammy Award for Best Contemporary World Music Album. That was the first time there was a Grammy in that category. He won again on 8 February 2009 as a part of Mickey Hart's latest group, Global Drum Project. Helen Folashade Adu, known as Shade Adu, is a singer, songwriter, cum actress. She is known as the lead singer of her eponymous band. She holds the title of the first artist of Nigerian origin to win the prestigious award. Her first Grammy was in 1986 for Best New Artist. In 1994, with No Ordinary Love for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. She earned her third Grammy in 2002 with Lovers Rock in the Best Pop Vocal Album. In 2011, she won a fourth Grammy with Soldier of Love for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. Lekan Babalola is a Nigerian jazz percussionist and musician who started playing the conga at an early age. He has 7 albums to his name and 2 Grammy Awards. In 2006, he became Nigeria's first Grammy Award winner for his work on Ali Fakature's In the Heart of the Moon, which he was credited in 3 tracks. He also won a second Grammy in 2009 for his work on Cassandra Wilson's 2008 album titled Lovely. He began his professional career after joining a band called Samba Samba Band. Cynthia Onyedimasu Erivo is an English actress, singer, and songwriter with Nigerian origins. She is the recipient of several accolades, including an Emmy Award, a Tony Award, and a Grammy Award, and has been nominated for 2 Academy Awards. She gained recognition for starring in the Broadway revival of The Color Purple from 2015 to 2017, for which she won the Grammy Award for Best Musical Theatre Album. She began acting in a 2011 stage production of The Umbrellas of Cherbourg and had a first screen role in the British television series Chewing Gum. Henry Olusegun Adiola Samuel is better known by his professional name Seal. He is a British-Nigerian musician, singer, and songwriter, best known for his 1994 hit song, Kiss from a Rose. He has 14 Grammy nominations to his name and has won 4. His song, Kiss from a Rose, earned him 3 Grammy Awards in 1996 and 2011. He won his 4th award, Imagine. He holds one of the highest numbers of Grammy Awards by a Nigerian. Damini Ebunluwa Ogulu, known professionally as Burna Boy, is a Nigerian singer, songwriter, rapper, and dancer. He is one of the biggest and most successful African artists. In 2020, his album Twice as Tall was nominated for the same category at the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards, making him the first Nigerian with back-to-back nominations at the Grammys. In 2021, he won the award for Best World Music Album for his album Twice as Tall at the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards. Burna Boy describes his music as Afrofusion, a genre that blends Afrobeats, dancehall rhythms, reggae, American rap, and R&B. Ayodeji Ibrahim Balogun, known professionally as Wizkid, is a Nigerian singer and songwriter, one of Africa's biggest artists, and one of the most revolutionary Afropop artists of the modern era. He rose to prominence after releasing Holla at Your Boy, the lead single from his debut studio album, Superstar. In 2016, Wizkid achieved international recognition following his collaboration with Drake on the global hit One Dance. He signed a multi-million-dollar album deal with RCA Records in March 2017. In 2019, he featured on Beyoncé's project, The Lion King, The Gift, on the collaboration Brown Skin Girl, which won him a Grammy Award for Best Music Video. The Grammy winner is presently the most streamed Nigerian artist of all time on Spotify, with a total of over 3 billion streams across all credits.
Welcome to Africa, where we dance and vibe. Too many for your body, we go spend tonight. 'Cause on this side, we can catch a vibe. Just free your mind, so you can feel alright. Who is in the, oh yeah, who is in the garden? Who is in the, oh yeah, who is in the garden? To Germany. This is the African way. You see that's your waist. Cannot go to waste, oh yeah. Sisi Roma, come closer. I like the way you focus from your lyric bossa. When she doesn't make closer, Sisi Roma, come closer. I like the way you focus from your lyric bossa. When she doesn't make closer. Who is in the, oh yeah, who is in the garden? I'm a
Who am I? Who are you? Who are we really? And how often do we pause to ask these pertinent and soul-searching questions? How much are we influenced and shaped by culture and tradition? What is the impact of culture and tradition on the family, our way of life, and cohesion?
So many questions begging for answers, John. And the craving to be an agent of positive change and ensure that the family unit achieves the critical elements of cohesion, bliss, and prosperity is the sole reason for this show.
Today with John and Helen, we have a program that's devoted to strengthening the family. It is the cultural month on the show, and I'm super delighted to welcome you all to join us on this journey of rediscovery. I am John Senaya.
Culture at last, we are here. Our conversation on culture is as comprehensive and important as it gets. Kicking off today, we take a close look at the beginning or evolution of culture, types of culture, and the impact of culture. I'm Helen Ongma Odeleye, and I'm so happy, to be a part of the show today. Culture is so dear to my heart, especially at a time like this, we're marking Easter. And so I'd like to say Happy Easter to everyone who is a part of this show every Saturday with us.
And would your dressing be an indication of how happy you are about the topic of the day?
How cultural I am too.
Yes, cultural. I've attempted to be cultural too, but not half as close. So culture is rich and essential.
True.
Yeah, and it culminates in diversity, having to do with how we live, music, art, and recreation.
Culture also covers religion, John. Beliefs, languages, addresses, organizations, and the attitude towards other people or other groups of people.
And you know that so much is learned. We learned so much, but there's still a lot more to learn, Helen.
Yeah.
And our guests are just as excited as we are to get on with the show. First, let's take a breather. This is Today with John and Helen. Once again, thanks for being a part of the show.
Welcome back to John and Helen. It's a show on Plus TV Africa, channel 408 on the DSTV. And this is a show that is dedicated entirely, to the affairs of the family and the society in extension. And today we are looking at something that is as powerful as mankind and as ancient as mankind, and that is culture. Culture is a very powerful driver for development. It ensures unity during crisis. It influences identity, debate, and dialogue. It is important for nation building and for peace and reconciliation. Having said that, this is the Easter weekend.
Yes.
Is there a correlation between culture? Yes, we did say religion.
Usually we would find a lot of culture being displayed
At this time.
At this time of the year. But I think for some, is it still a strange reason?
Especially in the villages, masquerades and
but for obvious
festivities.
for obvious reasons, we are not able to enjoy that this time out.
What's the obvious reason, John?
Obviously, we know about the pandemic,
Okay.
restrictions. People are being careful about mingling here and there. So I haven't seen that much of an expression, this time out. And, I'm sure that our guest today will...
and especially Lagos used to be a beehive of activities at this point in time. Okay. Apart from the trading and the crowding, you would see some young people at different points, doing some things. Yes, you said the pandemic, but the pandemic has not totally... it is easing out now. So the normal, so to speak, is coming back to life. So would you say that the fact that we're not feeling this season is entirely pandemic?
To a large extent, we are still stifled by measures, control measures.
Okay.
And really, we cannot afford to drop the ball yet. Yeah, drop our guard yet. So, culture is more than what we just talked about. And today, Professor Mazi Nabwe Chigozie Bright. I'm sorry if I murdered that name.
And that is a crime because culture is about your language. You know how to pronounce those names.
Professor Prof is from the Department of He's from the Department of Linguistics, African and Asian Studies, the Faculty of Arts, University of Lagos. And he'll be joining us at this point. I want to specially welcome you, Prof, to the program.
And Prof, welcome to the program and happy Easter to you.
God bless.
I can see you in your cultural attire.
A traditionalist like me.
A traditionalist like you. You are Mazi. All right. Like I said, welcome you to the show. Of course, you would agree that culture has been with us since the beginning of time, Prof. Could you please take us through some of the evolutionary milestones of what we now refer as culture?
Well, first you say, what is culture? Culture is the manifestation of all that a people consider as appropriate and what being practiced in their community. Now, at the formative stage of every human community, the founding fathers conceive certain relevant orientations which they design and then actualize to create awareness of what is appropriate, or what is considered appropriate, what is considered good, what is considered inappropriate in human behavior within that society. And these constitute the core values, norms, and the mores that are meant to guide human behavior in such a society. And then the sole aim, as a matter of fact, is to make people aware of their environment and then to make them aware of the environment, to know their time, and then to know their identity. As a matter of fact, culture identifies everyone. A man's personality is rooted in his culture.
Now, you used a few words that I would like to latch on to.
Core values.
You talked about core values, but you also talked about design.
Yes.
Does it then mean that culture doesn't happen accidentally, that it has to be designed?
No. You see, people found themselves in a particular environment. Now they have their eyes to view that environment, and then they have a language to explain that environment. And they now see themselves as people living together. Then what is good for you? I know that if you have 1 million hair on your body, if I pull one, it will pain you. Therefore, you will not like me to do that, and I will not like you to do that. Then we will agree that it will be inappropriate to pull one's hair. So there are certain things a people consider these are good. Let us do them. Then they become the culture, the norm. But these are not good. Let us not do them. Because if we do them, there will be no cohesion and there will be no harmonious coexistence. Therefore, you avoid them. There you have culture and taboo.
Okay, so having sorted that out, I feel a lot more comfortable. So at least we've now seen the various shapes and forms over time in different areas, that could happen in certain areas. Culture, the coloration of culture, how it happens, how it is done. Now, from where we stand, how do we define culture in a layman's viewpoint?
In a layman's viewpoint, it is those things that are allowed to be done unhindered in a community where we are. It's all encompassing. The clothes you put on, the food you eat, and of course the way you interact with others. In a layman's language, it is the acceptable ways of behavior within an environment, within a milieu, within a culture area.
Okay, Prof. So would I be right to assume that culture is peculiar to the people's location and circumstances?
Yes.
Based on your explanation so far.
That is why you call it worldview. The place you are, like I am an African, I am an Igbo man. Now, I will talk of Hamatan, I will talk of rain. But that's dry season, wet season, and the dry season. The European will talk of snow and so on. You don't expect me to begin to talk of snow
winter,
or have design my way of living in such a way that I'll give way to winter, autumn, and all the rest of them. No. So culture is, a culture, environment defines culture.
Sure.
Wow, but I'm a little confused there, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Does it then mean that I cannot take my culture and practice it in another, for instance,
there is a limit to what you can do, because they'll tell you that, they will tell you that if you go to a land where they have only one ear, they practice having only one ear. Yes. Got your own, put it inside your bag. Don't throw it away. Okay. Then when you get to another place where where the norm is that you have it too, then you dip your hand inside your pocket and then bring it out.
Prof,
so
that's
that you
a proverb. That's a proverb.
Well, we may say
that's not practical.
You may say it's an anecdote, but it's an aspect of culture.
Yes.
The foremost aspect of culture is language, and it is the language you use to explain.
Yes, and I know that where you come from, you're highly expressive in anecdotes and proverbs. Thank you. That is one that I'll keep. I'll keep that in my pocket and apply it. All right. So now, Prof. Now let's take a look at specific types of culture. What are the available types of culture, broadly speaking, world over? Oh, maybe. World over will be wide.
Of course, because you can't have one culture at the same place. Even within the Igbo community, for example, where you have the culture of kola nut, right? In a gathering like this, I won't bring my kola nut and begin to
share,
to break and I'll present first to you are the next man there. I'll present to you. Then.
Why did you guess? How did you guess that I'm the next?
No, because my sister, by look, is a female, so she wouldn't touch the kola nuts.
So I claim it.
What happens if I touch the kola nuts?
Nothing will happen. That one will be off record. That will be off camera. So now we will say the blessing.
Yes.
Then when we say the blessing, then we will break it. And the way we break it is that with knife, you cannot break it this way. Because when you are praying for life, longevity. Therefore, but because the nail cannot kill, the knife can kill. So if it is enough to go around according to the lobes, then you don't need to cut. But if it is not, you use the nail and not the knife to cut it into into small pieces. The reason being that the Igbo will say, where did the nail go that the kola nut did not get to everybody? Everybody must participate in the communion of kola eating. So now, wherever you see the Igbo, wherever they gather, you must see them, kola nut must first come. Then they ritualize it before any other thing, any other business can start. That is a living culture.
That's for the Igbos.
That's for the
Let's
Igbo.
quickly move
Now,
on to one or two others. Yes. About one or two others, yes.
No, one or two other communities. I know that there is a place where you will get to. The moment you get there, the first thing they offer you is water to announce your work, to receive you on arrival. Well, I know that for everyone, his culture is the best, and everyone has his own. But the important thing is that it will be difficult for me to say for these people, for these people, for these other people, this is what they do or how they do, how they live their lives, because I am not very much exposed to those of other cultures. So I stand to be guided, corrected, and advised where I am wrong. But I wouldn't like to go deep into what I do not know.
But are you familiar with the culture that allows people to give their wives to visitors to entertain? I just want, you know, Prof, I just want to.
I have only
Helen, Helen, stay out of this.
But I've never.
Helen, you stay out of this.
So,
Prof.
And if I get there, I won't practice it.
Oh, I wanted you to point me to the place so that.
Me to the place?
Yes.
Well, I will.
It's speculation.
If there's somewhere in Nigeria.
It is speculation.
But I don't think that. Remember, culture is dynamic. It is not static.
Yes.
So such culture may have been practiced sometime in the past, but I don't think it is.
That's talking about the evolution of culture.
I don't think it's a stand talking now.
Okay, Prof.
I'm not professor.
Mazi.
I only associate with professors. I'm not a professor.
Professor. Okay. There are so many aspects to culture. Yes. We hope that we have enough time to go into details now. Is there anything like a mixed culture? For example, you talked so much on Igbo culture. Yes. Is there anything like a mixed culture?
Yes.
Would the different types of culture easily, can we easily mix?
You see, when a person is born into the world, he's born into a particular culture. Now, and over time, he grows and mixes up with some other people, and then the people he's mixing up with may not entirely be from his own community. Therefore, there are certain things they do which you don't do, or certain things they accept as their culture which you don't accept as your own culture. Then there must be a way. Like now, the idea, let me borrow your use of our system. The idea of women putting on trousers is not acceptable among the Igbo, but today,
or was not in the past.
Now, in some religion, of course, in my culture, in ancient time, a woman who gives birth to a baby, even the inner one will not put it, because something should not pass through the natural way of a child coming into the world. You don't tamper with it. But today, it is the norm. Now, when you talk of music, the type of music we had in ancient time, our oral music, is no longer what you have today. I don't know how many of our children or our citizens under the age of 30 who know what is there in the village, especially those who were born and brought up in outside the community. Yeah. So even those that are in the community, they only see a part of it. During occasions, like you said, certain occasions, they will gather themselves, they will entertain people and disperse then. But when it used to be a living culture where you wake up in the morning, there is hardly a day you will not find it being practiced somewhere, then it must be part of you. But now, I eat spaghetti. I don't know what spaghetti is. Today, I drink what do you call it, chemical that are called wine. There, it will be my pounded yam. Over time, yam and cocoyam. Over time, cassava came because cassava is not an Igbo culture. But today, apple, everybody talks of Igbo and the apple now. Over time again, other food begin to crop up. You have to everybody is a child of his age, so you have to key in and then make sure that you don't, because the aim is to maintain cohesion, to maintain harmonious living.
Now,
we are human, we have to be humane.
Yes. Now, Mazi, I'm going to be unfair to you because you already told us that your space is within the Igbo
That is very
tradition.
true.
But you see,
that would be my epic, but then
yeah, but you see, this program,
yes,
right, caters for
every
one of us. And I'll ask the question, start off with an answer, and then expect you to complete it for me. The question is this: within this space, this geographical space, Nigeria, what are the distinct cultural differences that we have? For instance, the Yoruba man, this is my answer to start you off. The Yoruba man is more likely than any other tribe in Nigeria to prostrate. Yes. So could you just give us a few pointers, from key areas, because we can't go around the whole of Nigeria.
Well, I know that for some, they will raise their hands and then in greeting, it's a Rankadede, right?
Okay.
Rankadede.
That's from the north, predominantly.
From the northern side of this. Then I know that from Idoma area, they greet Anya, and from here, they continue to greet and greet and greet and greet you.
Okay, they greet you from here till you get to
as we are going,
CMS.
the greeting and response will continue. I'm sure I'm right
Helen, do you
over
know
that.
that?
And then for us here in the south, there is one aspect of culture which I find to be general, and that is asking after the home states.
Okay.
You must ask after the family, because that is the most important position anyone could.
So if you get on a phone call,
yes,
quick phone call,
you must
first
ask. You must ask.
Okay, that's the Yoruba you're talking about.
Like that.
That's cultural, really.
Cultural.
Okay, how about handshaking? Yes, COVID has said we shouldn't shake our hands, but we see it happening a lot. Even
you see, that, coming again to my own culture, where I will now go back. You see, even shaking is ritualized. Greeting for me is 4 times.
Okay.
For the Igbo, 4 holds a dominant presence in almost all they do. Okay. Today, for you, today is the 7th day of the week. For me, today is the 3rd day of the week.
Oh, your week starts when?
My week is 4 days and not 7 days. I have a Keoria Fandonko. I don't have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh. So I have 4 days of the week. And then for me to greet a gathering, I'll greet Igbo, Kwenu, Mono, Zono, Kwezono.
Okay, that's what he said.
Now, I will also, and then if we are title holders, which I'm not anyway, they will first use the back of the hand 3 times. 1, 2, 3. But because they are living human, which is 4, they complete it with the right hand. But for a child to greet an elder, he does not need to. If the elder brings out his hand, then the next is for the child to first use his own 2 hands and then show obeisance, do obeisance to as a mark of respect. Now, some other things. If in the morning a child wakes up from it is incumbent on him to greet the mother and the father, and not the other way around. And remember, whenever you greet, you must respond. If I greet you and you don't respond, I will feel that I must have offended you. Then the next person I will say, I'll ask, please go and ask what did I do to him? I greeted him, he did not respond. Okay. Because you feel, now for people like Ungwa area, it is a blessing. Mazi ndewanne nawo nawa for kanka nkamarage dabere bewarachi 4 times.
Mazi. Now you said.
Yes. Before we continue with that, we will take a break. We'll take a break now.
Wow.
I will be back.
Wow, wow, wow. Absolutely amazing. If you're just joining us, this is Today with John and Helen on Plus TV Africa. And what interests us today is to take you way back, you know, to where you started from. And it's all about culture, our beginning, our continued way of existence. And it's so dynamic and it's so diverse. And Prof here has been, you know, revealing some very, there's a word I don't want to use, you know, but very beautiful things to us about the culture. You know, you're giving birth to, and you move from one year, one day, you know, to the other. And some of these things are saliently, you know, being deposited inside of you, and you are acting in ways that you really can't say why you are. But Prof here is able to, you know, tell us exactly how your culture forms who you eventually become. So, thank you once again for joining us on the program. We're going into the next segment, and you have more to shine out for us.
And of course,
John,
yes.
you have the first question.
Yes, I do. Prof, before I go to my next question, you know, you rounded off the last segment with, you know, modes of greetings. I have a few Igbo friends in my club, Rotary, and there's this joke between us, you know, that I'm not an Igbo chief. I'm not an Igbo chief.
Okay.
So the greeting, I can't. They don't give me. They don't give me the 3. Yeah.
And they won't give me.
They don't give me 3.
I don't belong.
Yeah. So when I meet them, I go 1, 2, and then 1 remaining.
that is even that one they get.
And they take it
that
seriously.
Just to humor you, not to,
as much as we joke about it, they take it. They take it so seriously. Anyway, Prof, thank you. Welcome to the second segment.
Yeah.
Now we're still digging into culture, and Mazi, you're an associate prof. He says the associate.
I'm only associate.
The associates with Prof. But you permit us to just, maybe in quotes, refer to you as Prof.
Because you're on your way.
Because I belong somewhere. I belong somewhere so that I don't go there to receive query.
Anyway, so Prof is here with us. And I will say that to a large extent, we've ignited the interest of our viewers.
Sure.
You know, just like we have been incensed by what you've been saying. And our discussion on evolution of culture has been most interesting. But tell us now, Mazi, what are the obvious characteristics of a people's culture?
Obvious.
Characteristics of a people's culture. Like, these are the ingredients that will be present before we can say this is their culture.
There is no. There's no one thing you can say in point. My sister said it earlier when she said, you are born into a community. And that community, from the day you were born, you are welcomed. The moment an relation is sounded, like in my community, here, oh wait, every woman, whatever she is doing, we drop it and run towards the direction. And then every man, whatever he's doing, will move there, and the children will be at home. And they'll gather. What have they gathered to do? To receive the addition into the family, and by extension into the society. Now, from there, you will hear certain songs that will remember these oral poems are trifurcated. They are either for admonition, or for praise, or for satire.
Wow.
Right. Now, in a situation like this, you now sing those praise songs that you used to praise your praise God, praise the ancestors, those who are the founding fathers of the community, and of course to praise the woman who was able to deliver a child, to deliver the child safely without having a stillbirth. Now, from there, the child and the mother move into a seclusion called Omugo. Then a period where the woman is allowed to get regain her strength. People will serve her. She will not. People will serve her. She will not be the one to serve herself. Say 3, 4, 5 weeks or thereabout, and then the child will now have the opportunity of being properly nursed. Not today that the child will you give birth to a child and then the next day the mother is on the way to work. No.
So sorry, you've looked at language and you've looked at behavior, right? Okay.
And music and
well, music are put under language, yes.
It's a part of language.
Yes.
In fact, the foremost culture, like I said, is language, because it is language you use to explain, to express your fear, your anxiety, your joy, your anger, everything you use language to explain.
What about food?
The food I said earlier for the Igbo now, Chineke, Jinede, Zwondi Igbo. God used yam and cocoyam to feed the Igbo. So the moment you hear what Yoruba will call enyo, you call otaraji, pounded yam, the Igbo man will get up. Then you talk of egusi, onubu, those ingredients that must be there in the soup, then the Igbo man is there. Then you talk of the Yoruba, you talk of amala, ewedu, and enyo to an extent, okay? Now you talk of the Hausa, you talk of tuwo, and of course their drink is brukutu. That of the Igbo is maya, and then of course for the Yoruba you have oti, and so on. So these ones are there. Then you come to human behavior. Yes, you talk of a child. Remember, Yoruba will have a song that says, if I'm right. So if you look down on your mother, who did this for you, who labored for you, your father who labored for you, then you are placing a curse on yourself, if I'm not mistaken. So in Igbo, when the child is still sucking, that lullaby, Ezio mume, ezio mume, ezio mume, irezio mume dikowe, gi ezula ohi, gi agbala moga, gi huwane gi na nyanke kachasi, irezio mume dikowe. This is a word of training. Say that you should put on good behavior, acceptable behavior, moral behavior as clothes. You do not steal, and they emphasize, do not steal. You do not bear false witness, they emphasize.
So it's a lesson.
So these are lessons, and then they say that in all you do, because as you put it as a cloth, where you move, how you go, what you do, what you say, that good behavior is seen in you. So it is internalized, you inculcate it, and then a child nurtured this way will surely mature as a reasonable adult. There's no two ways about it.
Interesting.
Mazi is so traditional, and culture is so vital to you, as it should be to everybody else. Now, beyond the well-known Western and traditional cultures, Mazi, are we likely to find cultures that are peculiar to individuals or smaller units? Are we likely to find them beyond the general understanding of culture and the features of culture?
Then, in that case, you are now talking of secluded. You have societies, you have clubs.
Like, for example, many years ago, we were told that somewhere in the plateau, there's still people living on top of the hills who do not even wear any apparel as of now.
The Koma people. Have I seen any of them coming here naked? I've not seen any of them coming here naked. And does it mean that the Koma people are asked not to leave their community I don't want to believe most of those things. There could be what they are like a preparation. A child, when a woman is due to get married, the first thing they do is to send her into a fattening room. That place, she will be expected to learn. She will enter there as a child and they come out as a mature lady ready for marriage. And as she comes out, she must go through the market to walk around to expose herself. Then, when you see her bar chest, and then this thing, they with a little, maybe jigida, what they call beads, covering the waist. And then today, a small piece of paper, a piece of cloth covering the breast, then you say that the Igbo are still going, or their ladies are still going naked. No, I don't want to believe that. You may have seen them observing a particular culture, remembering their past, and then you think that that is the way they live. Who is that place not in Nigeria? Who is their counselor? Who is their representative? Do they go to National Assembly? Do they go to court naked? I don't want to believe that, my dear brother. There is a limit to what I cannot believe.
Yes, thank you. Now, Mazi, a thought just struck me, while you were talking. I looked at the word cult and culture. And I realized that when we have cults, they have codes within themselves.
Members.
Does the word cult, or does the practice of cult, does it strengthen our understanding of culture?
Yes. Cult is not a bad thing. It is from cult you have your culture. From cult you have your agriculture. Of course, you cultivate from cult. So actually, it is a way of doing things.
That's a cult.
Good. Whether religious or societal or, right? So you don't see it as, it is when it is now the way they go about that practicing that you may say is good or bad, right? But initially it is patterned towards good societal well-being, because that members of that particular cult must conform to the
practices.
So if they don't, the other members, because you willingly make yourself a member, therefore you have to abide, or you'll be kicked out, you'll be shown the way out. But in a society where you are born into, there is no way you must not conform to the norms and the must. You must. If you don't, then the next thing is they excommunicate you. If they ostracize you or excommunicate you, that's it. Then by the time you come into, you come out in the world, nobody greets you. You greet everybody, nobody greets you back. Then you go to market to buy something with your money, nobody sells to you. Then you have something, nobody comes to buy. Then you will know that the world of an individual is best in the womb and in the tomb and not in this human world.
Oh my God. Right now, at this point in time, I am thinking of the killing of the twins.
Yes.
I am thinking of female genital mutilations. I'm thinking of human sacrifices at the point where, a monarch or somebody passes. Now, because all along you've talked about culture as glorious, beautiful.
Yes.
Are there, other sides to culture?
I have to explain that. I'm very happy. When you tell a child, when you tell a lady to go to a housemaid where she likes to be married, she will go with all her heart. This you have come to where I am interested in. One, twins.
Yep.
Beautiful. In ancient time, let me talk of the Igbo. We had no tolerance for twins. Something cropped up, something caused that. Now, the Igbo believe that there must be a root. You must come through, you must have a father.
Yeah.
There is the ancestral Ofo, it is the person who, they will ask you, who is your father? And you, it is only the child, a bona fide child, born into that, whether I'm right or not, a bona fide child born into that family that must hold that offer. Therefore, the idea is that animals come into the world as in twos, threes, and fours. Only the cow does not has only one child at a time, and then human being. Now, the ancient idea, don't tell me it's wrong or right. The ancient idea was that for a fowl to, for an animal to give birth to more than one child, it must have been mated by more than one female.
Okay.
Right. Therefore, the idea was that for a woman to give birth to two twins, then she must have deviated from the norm. She must have committed
Slept with more than one man.
Beautiful. And then you do not know which is the one for the family and which is the one that is not for the family.
Wow.
Then how do you tolerate that?
Okay.
Wow.
You see that now?
Okay.
Good. Now, over time, you talk of people giving birth to 10, 20, and 5, and all the rest of them. You remember that the fertility, the fertility food you eat, the fertility drug you take, and all the rest of them must be responsible for that, those ones.
Yes.
Now, but remember, like I said, culture is not static. Over time, that culture has been considered to be obsolete. Sure. So they have discarded it. Okay. Even people now celebrate twins among the Igbo. So that is the dynamic nature of culture. So, okay. There are two other things they asked.
Okay, go ahead. Quickly, because they're telling us our time is
our time. Okay. Yeah. Then the other one is a human sacrifice. Definitely all world cultures, all world communities at the ancient time, at the primordial era of their life, practiced human sacrifice. We are today talking of Jesus Christ. Is it true? Good. We are told that he was sacrificed for our sins, isn't it? Yeah. So when the need arises, there used to be that human sacrifice.
It's no more.
But today, even those who do it to inter heroes and others, they now do it covert and not overt. Okay. Now, you talked of female genital. Please, the people should be understood. That idea of female genital, we call it circumcision. That circumcision is not harmful. The way it was done, the way it is conceived, the way it is designed, the way it is done. I cannot point at any Igbo woman who couldn't give birth to a child because she was circumcised or what. It is a thing. I'm sorry if I'm vulgar, but then because I'm online. That thing they talk about, you say that without the remission of blood, I mean, without the shedding of blood, there will be no remission of sin. That thing is a tie. The male penile rod is scraped and the blood drops. Okay. That clitoris is scraped, not cut, for God's sake. It's scraped for that blood to touch, because it is what binds the person with the ancestors and then the living. And please, the way it is being carried out, I do not subscribe to it. Thank you.
So Mazi, this is a topic on its own.
I'm telling you, we haven't even gone to the Osu aspect of it.
Well, because
because
if I had the time, I would
say,
gone. Because this is my area.
You know. But it's pleasing. It's exciting to know that a lot of these so-called bad cultural practices are being, they are fading off.
Yes, but before we round off, maybe in 1 minute, Mazi, does it then mean that culture today is flexible, is becoming
dynamic? Yeah.
It's flexible because you have laws that you didn't have that time.
Yes.
You have infiltration of Western law, Western education, and the rest of them. So they have impact, influence on the traditional one. Those who accept the Western culture will definitely stick to it. And then, even to the genital mutilation we are talking about, now they use the finger to press it in as a way. But people, deep down, will still use razor small this thing.
There's a lot more about that. So we can't go into that today at all. There's so much, to talk about if you're going to the circumcision aspect. But we don't have that time now. Okay. But we have been so schooled.
Yes.
On culture.
Yes.
And so finally, Magzi, is there any way that culture helps an environment to develop? Is there development and culture side by side?
The moment you keep the culture, you abide by it, you will have a healthy relationship. And when you have healthy relationship, there will be peace. And when there is peace, then you'll be free to think. There will be security. Then you'll be able to think. You'll be able to develop yourself. You will carry out with your trades and your work unhindered. You will have an enabling environment to develop yourself.
So culture has failed us to some extent because there's a lot of confusion.
More than one now, not
there's a lot of confusion around here now. And so it means that culture somehow, hasn't helped a lot. Thank you so much, Prof.
God bless you.
Thank you, Magzi. We don't want you going back to the university and getting a query, but you are in the process of becoming a prof.
I'm only an associate professor. I'm not a professor, so let me explain myself.
Magzi, thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Magzi was talking to us a while ago, and he didn't know that I'm Benue. I'm Idoma, by the way. And you said something about us. I was just like, okay, I don't know.
I was waiting for you.
I knew you were prompting me, but I just kept.
So I can now call you Ene.
I just kept Amada and Ene and Ongma, whichever you want.
So you are Ada. Ene is a mother, right?
Yes.
Ada is a first daughter, right?
Yes.
Good.
And there's so much that comes with it culturally. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Magzi.
My very good friend, Innocent Alechenu, is from Idoma.
Alechenu? You just called it like an Englishman.
No, not like an Igbo man, because an Igbo man must pronounce every single sound. No letter is silent in Igbo.
Okay.
No name, no one is changes is like you have the Englishman will tell you C is
silent.
C, then no C.
Okay.
Then you say C-A-N. It becomes
Before Magzi takes us to the classroom. Thank you so much.
What is a lecturer?
So after the break, yeah.
Yes.
We'll go on a break now. And after the break,
Pharaoh is waiting.
Pharaoh Owutomo continues with the culture series with her guests. And they will take a look at the impact of culture. Stay with us.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Thank you, John and Helen. My name is Pharaoh Owutomo. Over the last week, I have grappled with the word culture. I thought I understood what it meant, but I realize I still don't. I've confused culture and tradition, and the question I've been asking everyone, including my trusted friend Google, is what is culture? And culture is a way of life of a group of people, meaning how they do things. Essentially, it is the patterns of learned and shared behavior and beliefs of a particular social, economic, age, or corporate organization, well, groups. Basically, the attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterizes different institutions and groups of people. Thankfully, John, Helen, and Magzi have tackled the evolution and types of culture, making my job easier as I only have to concentrate on understanding the impact of culture. And to help simplify this is Ifeoluwa Fashola, Group CEO of Kidari Capital Limited. When I was looking for the perfect host for today, Ifeoluwa's name came up. I wondered why. But after speaking with her at length, I got it. Imbibing culture is an integral part of who she is. So much so that her company has an internal course they teach their staff called acculturation, meaning adaptation and assimilation. Welcome, Ife.
Thank you, Farah.
It is such an honor to have you here with us today.
I'm excited to be here.
So let's try and see how much we can impact in 25 or so minutes. What is culture?
So when you say what is culture, you already defined culture when we were starting. So
Yes.
what is culture to me?
To you, yes.
And it's my understanding of the ways of life and the norms, the social norms of the various places you go to.
Okay.
So the culture will be different in different places.
Okay.
And it would even be different in places within places. So you
Okay.
have culture within a church, you have culture within a workplace, you have culture within a family, and then a bigger, like a tribe, a clan. So it widens out. But
What is your culture within your family?
within my family, we're very Yoruba in my family.
Okay.
So we used to live in England. We're all British passport holders. So we're British, in quotes. But we're Yoruba people. And I tell my children, please, you're Yoruba first, British for passport, Yoruba for culture.
Okay.
So that's it.
So
yeah.
what are the kind of things you make them, what are the things you imbibe in them
You know,
as a Yoruba?
coming for this show, right? I asked my daughter, the eldest one, I said, when we talk about culture, when you hear the word culture, give me one word. For you as a Yoruba girl, what pops in your mind when you hear the word culture? And she said respect.
True.
So those are the kind of things that my children kneel down. Even when we're living in England, they would kneel down for elders and all of that. That is a very Yoruba thing. It's not a Nigerian thing, it's a Yoruba thing. You're more likely to see a Yoruba person kneeling down.
Okay.
And I just teach them that because I don't know where they're going to end up in future. So I don't know if somebody's son is going to take my daughter home, and the one thing that will determine the first 25 years of her marriage is whether she knelt down on day one or not. So let's just cover all the bases.
True.
I also think that we should not throw away who we are.
Very
No
true.
matter how westernized, traveled, bougie, exposed, enlightened, whatever word you want to use, let's not forget who we are. Let's remember who we are, because that's what makes us, our culture. And then our culture flows into our values.
True. True.
So let's always remember who we are. And that's what I tell them. Yoruba people say, "Roti omo eni ti won se." Remember the child of whom you are.
Who you are. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. So in what ways has culture impacted your life over the years?
I'll take you around a little bit. Like I said, I used to live in England.
Yes.
So here was I, a Niger girl, went to England for my master's, ended up staying there and working.
Okay.
So I was very set in my ways in certain things. So I would meet anybody at work who was like really so much older than I, particularly if they were like manager of manager of manager of manager. Everybody goes around calling everybody Mark, Jane, Truman. I'll call you Mr. Whatever. Because it just didn't come naturally to me to see people that are much older than I and then to just blow them their first name. I just always was uncomfortable. Now later somebody gave me feedback, and one day I sat in a meeting and they said, everyone loves working with you, and they say you're very good at what you do, but that you're very formal. That you don't, you don't let loose, you don't let down your hair.
Because you say Mr.
Because I call them Mr. this and Mr. that, So they said I was very formal with them. I said, no, I'm not being formal with you. I'm respecting you. That's how we do where I'm coming from.
So did you break it down for them so that they actually understood your culture better?
Oh, yes. And that's one thing about me. And that's probably why you said somebody mentioned my name.
Yes.
I make it my job to educate people.
Okay.
Or particularly on culture. Particularly on our culture. My company, we have tentacles in Ghana. So when I'm in Ghana, I'm always telling them, look, my Ghanaian brothers and sisters, we are Nigerian. And to us, this means this. So please tell me whatever we're doing means to you as well. Because you find out, they use this word culture shock.
True.
Do you understand? You get somewhere, and what is normal where you are coming from is an abomination where you've gotten to. So you have a culture shock because you do something, everybody looks at you like you're crazy. And to you, you think you're doing the right thing.
Very true.
And even amongst us in Nigeria, you look at the major tribes of Nigeria, it is very normal for a 12-year-old girl in the north of Nigeria to carry her bag and go to her husband's house.
Okay.
It is very not normal in the south of Nigeria to have that. And we live happily ever after.
Okay. But that's normal. 12-year-old carrying her bag and go to her husband's house is a completely different conversation that I don't even want to go into because that's, yeah, let's not even go there. But I understand what you mean.
So you see, when you talk about culture, you have to take the good and the bad. That there would always be negative aspects to our culture as well.
Which is where the problem lies. And I think that's why people are jettisoning a lot of their cultural,
a lot of it.
You know, the things that we should imbibe because there's so much negative that goes with it. How do you address that?
A young girl, I was so heartbroken last week because a young girl who is PA to one of my friends lost her husband of less than a year. They just got married less than a year and he died in an accident.
Wow.
And she had to shave off her hair.
What?
She's Igbo, and that's what you do. Your husband or your dad or someone dies, they cut your hair. So they had to cut her hair. So here she was, young girl. She's just lost her husband. She's in a terrible state of mind. And then you've cut off her hair. You know what hair means to a woman.
Yes.
We just take it very, like you go to the salon and they are combing and a few strands fall on the ground and you are eyeing the poor stylist.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So somebody now shaves off your hair after you've just been traumatized by the death of your husband.
Those are aspects. Get over that kind of trauma?
It's almost like completely dehumanizing and debasing you because this thing happened. But then if you ask those whose culture it is, they will have a deeper meaning to it. And when they explain it, it would make sense in some kind of way. But where I'm sitting, I was just traumatized for her.
That is the negative impact of culture.
So you'd see that all the time. You'd see both the good and the bad.
Okay, so would you then say culture, tradition, and our values are all intertwined?
Completely.
How so?
Tradition talks to more of a system of beliefs. So the things that are deep-rooted. So like remember when, thank God, we don't have that anymore, but in some parts of Nigeria, they would kill twins because they were believed to be evil. So once you have twins, they'll just kill them off. That was a terrible tradition. Do you understand? And so what value do you place on the life of a twin in that area? Zero.
Especially as in certain cultures, having twins is the most amazing, wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So you can imagine within the same country, all you have to do is travel a few hours down the road. And when you have twins, you're celebrated. The Yorubas, everybody will call you Iyabeji, and you're deemed to be special amongst women.
Yes.
For it. So you would always find, and those things determine values that we place on things. Our culture, our tradition, absolutely determine our values.
Does it then devalue who we are as a people?
So it depends. So we said we take the good and the bad. There are some traditional practices and some aspects of our culture that I believe are very demeaning and devaluing. And I just gave one.
Yes.
But that's just my opinion, right?
Yes.
Because I don't know the deeper, reason behind that. Just on the surface.
So let's talk about some of the good ones.
Some of the good ones. So for example, we talked earlier about respect, right? And how my daughter, I asked her, I said, do you see that as a good thing or a bad thing? She said, well, it actually helps you to decide how to address people, she said, imagine even our language, the O and the E. So, and it's kind of like a check.
Yes, it is.
So even if you're a naturally rude person, or the person is annoying the life out of you, there's still a check on you because you call this person auntie or whatever. The boundaries you will not be able to cross.
True.
Although they say my Ibadan people don't see that one, but that's another conversation.
They will still say and abuse you.
They will say, Egbomi, and you know, I don't want to be rude to you. If not that I don't want to be rude to you, I would have told you that your head is not correct.
That's you know, that's the thing that for me, I get a bit confused because I'm like, it sounds a bit hypocritical. But like I was saying to you earlier, the older I get, the more I understand it. And I would rather those boundaries than nothing at all. But then what about other cultures that don't necessarily have those types of checks and balances?
You see it in how it plays out. So your average parent raising a child in the West is afraid of police. You cannot even correct your child. They will call social services and call police on. Just come and tell me the child in this Lagos of Nigeria that will tell you that they are calling police for their parents.
Very true.
You get to the police station and the policeman will beat you.
Very true. The policeman will say, now you disrespect your parents.
Do you understand?
Very true. Very
true. So you
true.
can see how it plays out. All those things, they have, you know, it's like a domino effect. You throw away certain things and you throw away certain things with them. You throw away your peace of mind, you know, with it when you throw away certain aspects of our culture.
True. So I want to quickly segue into the times we live in, which is the COVID era. Would you say there's such a thing now as the COVID culture?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And, you know, there's so much negativity to the COVID culture. There are some good parts, which is everybody learns to wash their hands very well.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Everybody became more aware of what they were putting in their mouth and putting in their body and the impact of it on their immune system and all of that. So there's a better eating culture, there's a better hygiene culture and all of that. But we've lost a bit of ourselves, in fact, a huge chunk of ourselves to COVID. I have not hugged my mom properly in over a year. Wow. Because I go out, I go to work, I take meetings, so I'm afraid, you know, of that. And I can just imagine the impact on her. So now we can't just freely hug each other. We can't be affectionate. We've lost a lot to COVID.
So I would then say it's probably time for us to now actually revisit the idea of the culture, of our culture, look at the world we currently live in, the COVID world, and redesign a culture that is palatable or more palatable. Figure out how to show affection without causing the person harm. I don't know if such a thing is possible.
So I've been thinking about that, what you just said, right? So when people date now, what happens? You know how the whole thing about the first kiss and all of that is out of the window now because you can't be kissing anybody.
You first show them your COVID vaccination test or COVID negative
and the last time you took a test.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But okay, so at the beginning I had talked about something you did in your organization called acculturation. Yeah. Can you quickly tell me about what that is?
Okay, so it's something not only that we do in our organization, it's something we do for our clients as well, because we're risk consultants amongst other things. We're investment bankers, but we also have a risk management consulting unit. And when we go out, we do something called acculturation for our clients as well. What you do is you're building a culture. You decide as a firm, as a company, and we take it from the board down. What are the ideas, ideals, values, and practices that you want to entrench as a company, as a firm? And think about if you have how many branches across the whole of Africa, you want to have the same culture. You want to have the same ideals. You want to have the same values. And you want to have a uniformity of practices that would showcase that culture.
Okay.
So it's about first identifying what those things are and then codifying it. So when I say, you know, you put it in a framework of sorts.
Yes,
and then we find a way of implementing it, rolling it out across board. And it takes time because, you know, acculturation is not something that happens in a meeting room where you give a presentation and everybody says, okay, yes, and they move on. So you now go through a process and a period of acculturation, and it's ongoing because people come, people go.
Yes.
So you find that it's a continuous thing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what I got from that is your ideas, ideals, values, and practices, and I dare say that can actually come into play within families as well. You sit down as a family and decide, what do we stand for? What is our family culture? And begin to imbibe that into the children, the staff, everybody, and then it kind of translates to everything you do. I think that's a really, really good thing for everybody to try and do. So very quickly, my last question is this. Can you give us 2 to 3 examples of everyday cultural impact? Something that we can go away and say, okay, to be a better cultured person from today, I'm going to do these 2 or 3 things moving forward.
Okay, I think that in all of our languages, we have very abusive words. And we do not hesitate to use them.
Okay.
So I was having a conversation with my children last night because somebody called somebody a name and somebody has refused to let go. And I said, well, you know we have a culture of no name calling. No name calling. And it starts with me. So you will never hear me insulting my help. If you do something wrong, I'll correct you and I'll tell you, I don't like this. Please, if you can't do things my way, you can't work for me. But to now say you are stupid, you are an idiot, no. It does not happen. Do you understand? And so I tell the children, do you hear me? Do I call you names? And that is it. I don't even do that with them. So see, if I can restrain myself, I told them last night, I said, do you people think that the way you behave sometimes, can you not name it yourself? They started laughing. I said, yeah. Do I call you the names that you behave sometimes? And they said, no. I said, if I can restrain myself, so can you.
Okay, so that's one.
So that's one, and that is very important in the workplace. Yes, because in Nigeria, you hear of bosses who are very rude to their staff. Yes. And I think it's unconscionable, it's uncalled for.
Yes.
It's part of being professional to be able to express yourself, even express your anger and displeasure without being rude or disrespectful.
Yes, that's very true. Okay.
So that's one. The second one is the culture of timekeeping. You see this thing they call African time. Can so vex me. I do not like it. And then they now have a worse version of it called Nigerian time. And that one, please don't even get me started. So in my office, we have what we call Kedari time. Kedari is a Yoruba word. It's the Yoruba word for cedar. Kedari.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the name of the company. And we have what we call Kedari time. Kedari time is 15 minutes to. So if I have an appointment with you, you know what time I got here this morning? If I have an appointment with you for 9, I must be at the site by 9:15. Because what we preach is that if the appointment is for 9, it means the meeting starts at 9, not that you stroll in at 9.
Very true.
You should be settled and ready to go by 9.
Very true, very true. So that's 2 things, one more thing.
So that's 2 things. You want me to give you a third?
One more thing.
I think that we all need to treat our bodies better. Eat right.
Okay, eat right.
Eat right, exercise.
Exercise. Okay, so what I'm going to term this is Ifeoluwa Fashola's 3 cultural impacts for everyday living. No abusive language, timekeeping, eating right, and exercising properly.
Absolutely.
Those are things that we can do every day. And I am so thankful that in the short timeline we have been able to hopefully really just at least touch on the topic of impact and cultural impact. So I'm really quite grateful for that. So Ife, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me this morning.
Thank you.
This has actually been quite an exciting conversation, and I'm happy. I'm happy that we've been able to have this. And I cannot wait for us to continue unpacking culture and tradition. And next Saturday with me is somebody who is very dear to me. I'm not going to tell anybody who it is, but if you follow us at Plus TV Africa or follow me at Fero Shonuga Owotomo, you would get more information on our guest for next week. Thank you so much. With us next is our fitness instructor.
Welcome to the fitness sessions on Plus TV. Today, we'll be doing some bodyweight exercises. I want you to join us as we do this. So I'm going to be doing this with my friend Patrick. Patrick, if you're ready, join me. So let's push, okay? Guys, I want you to join us how to do this, okay? We'll go with them. We're going to warm up for like a whole minute, and after that, we'll go into the exercise proper. So for our warm up today, we just hold your hand by your waist and just kick. Just simple exercises. A kick leisurely, lazily, and then we get into the groove. That's how we do it. 1, yes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's bring the knee up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you know, before you start or engage in any exercise at all, you try to warm up. Warm up is very important in every exercise. All right, let's bring it down. Now we're going to punch. 1, let's punch. 2, 3, let's make 20. 5, 4, go. 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Now remember, what we're doing are exercises that you can just wake up in the morning, take 5 or 6 minutes to do, and then get on, go all the way, just carry on with your business, okay? All right, first, we're gonna be doing touchdown. I'm gonna demonstrate the exercise. We do a touchdown, and we do a lateral jump, and then we go down and we do bicycle crunches, okay? We're doing these 3 exercises. We'll go 10-10 each. 10-10 each. We'll do about 3 sessions of it, and I'm sure by the time we go to the 3rd set, you'll be feeling the workout. Are we ready for this? Are we ready, Patrick? Okay, first, I want to show you, we'll start with a simple lateral jump. Just go there. 1, 2, simple jumps, there, okay? We're going to do that 10. That's the first exercise. The second one, we just go, I want double shuffle, there. Double shuffle, down. Again, down, and down. That's the second one, and then we go down, okay? We go down, stay here for me, and put your hand here slowly, and exchange, and there. All right, so you see, those 3 exercises, we're gonna do them in that order. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going for 3 sets of it. So we'll start with the first one. We're jumping first. Are we ready? Okay. We'll slide to your right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. There. Go. 1. Double shuffle for me. 1. There. 2. There. 3. Again. 4. Push. 5. Give me 5 more. There. Go. 4. Well, 3 more. 2. Last one. There. Okay, let's bring it down. Let's go down. Right? We're going for bicycle crunches. All right, this is an exercise you can do in place of push-up. Keep that hand here. 1. First, before you start, crunch. Okay, crunch. Suck in your belly button. Hands by the ears, and just go 1. All right, let's go. Change. 2. Again. 3. Go. 4. Again. 3. Last one. 4. All right. Since we're on the floor, since we finished on the floor, might as well stretch on the floor. Okay. So we're here. Bring your hand here. The other side, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Let's try and sit up. Sit up. Look up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you do this, make sure you exert some strength on that hand. Don't just drop the hand. Got some strength on it, like you want to push the floor further downward. Okay, bring it back. All right, bring your hands here. Place it right here on the floor. Get your elbow to touch the floor. All right, 1, 2, 3. See, it's a very simple exercise. I'm sure some of us will struggle with it. 8, 9, and 10. Good job. All right, let's try and put our head on our knee. Put your forehead. By holding this, put the forehead there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Good job. All right. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Go. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. All right, let's bring those legs together. Put your hand here. You give me a bridge, a straight arm bridge. All right. Bring your legs here. We'll go up. Straight arm bridge. Stay there on the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, guys. You know, I expect you to do this every day you wake up in the morning and go about your business. So until we come your way again, next time, take care. We'll see you again. Bye.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
What an interesting session. Pharaoh, you again.
Simplifying all there is about culture.
That was quite an eye-opener, you know, the impact of culture, yes, right? Thank you so much for that great job you just did.
Oh, thank you.
And now for my nugget, and I hope it's up on the screen, if you can read it. Performance is not measured in decibels, but passion. So, simply speaking, it's not when you scream and shout, you know, when you're having a speech that you connect with your audience. You don't need to shout, you know. You only need to show your passion.
True.
Showing your passion doesn't necessarily mean screaming. You can inflect, you can rise and shine, like we say in public language. So that's it. Don't scream and shout. Just be meaningful and connect. That's
and
my
connect,
nugget.
And connect. And impact.
Yes.
And get professional about it, because you're saying it because you have been on this for a long time.
Yes.
And you know the magic in not shouting.
Yes.
But in a lot of conversations, some people think that the louder you are, you know, the clearer you get.
So that's it.
Okay, so Pharaoh, as usual, take us through next week very quickly.
Next week, we have culture versus tradition. We've talked about culture, what is culture today. All through the month of April, we're doing the culture series. So next week is culture versus tradition.
Wow.
Stay with us. Follow
Okay.
us at Plus TV Africa.
Culture versus tradition next week. For me, your guest gave you 3. I gave myself 1. I like the respect. I like all of the things she said. But I'm thinking about courtesies more. Thank you, sorry, and all of that. And I want to believe that that will make for a better society, a more harmonious, you know, society.
Very
and
true.
loving you. I'm going to love me more because I know where I'm coming from. How about you?
I'm always with you, Helen.
Go away, Joe.
All right, then.
Pharaoh, your bye-byes.
Thank you. We see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Thanks for being there. Happy Easter once again. Enjoy your great happy Easter weekend. Bye for now.
My name is Kuyoro Olalekan Shegun. My friend introduced me to this recycling thing. Fortunately for me, I'm African representative of it. I've been to a lot of shows, I've been to a lot of events through this recycling of a thing. So I was like, what is this stupid thing, this one tire bike? I never knew the bike is my destiny.
Juggling, acrobatic display, and dancing are some of the acts you will see from the God Knows Best Academy, a local unicycling team in Lagos.
When I was doing it alone then, to me, I felt like it would be very nice if we can be many, like only me. I think I was very happy and I got some popularity, like, hey, he's doing the Oyibo thing, this one, that one. But I felt bored along the line, like, why only me doing this thing? Maybe I should teach others. So I tried to teach the adults then. So I found out that the adults it's more difficult to teach the adults, that the kids are more better because they have nothing to think about or to care for. So I think, so that was when I discovered that it's better for me to look at age 12 downward than 17, 18 stuff. Starting the academy was more difficult because unicycle was barely known. Like, they're like, I'd rather put my children in dancing, in singing, than this one bike thing. That, what was it used for? What was this one? But along the line, we started getting attention, recognition, newspaper, TV interview, and like, wow, I want to bring my child, I want to bring my daughter, I want to bring my stuff. Then currently, I think we have a space issue, like we need a proper academy, we need funds, like we need help with their school as well and other kids. So those are the basic challenges we are having now.
My name is Kendo Kotoko. I was outside of our house the other day, so I saw them riding a one-tire bicycle. So I was like, how do they ride this one? So my brother told me that, are you going to learn? So I decided to say that yes, I'd rather learn unicycle to go and do a business or to learn a work. So that's how I joined the unicycle. My friend told me that the other day that they saw me with this unicycle, they told me that, are you not going to break your leg? So I tell them that, no, ma, I'm not going to break my leg. We have a coach, so our coach is going to put us through how they ride this unicycle. So since that day, my mom and dad saw me riding a unicycle, so they was like happy. So they decided to tell me that, oh yeah, are you going to start going to train? And I decided, I said that yes, I'll start learning with unicycle. Not everybody can do it. So sometimes we went out, so some people like to try it, so that they might give me shubu, they might come lessons. So I was like, no, we are going to come for training. If you have a proper training, so you can do it. So we go for a show, we go for an event, so we go to different times. I've been to a hotel, I've been to one Lagos Fiesta, so we won 1 million. So the money that we got from the 1 million, we need to do all this in the cycle, so our coach needed to feed us.
From the beginning it was difficult because unicycle is not known, it's just new then. But as time goes on, like for instance now when I take them out, they get paid, like take this 2K, that was the beginning, take this 10K, give it to your mom, give it to your dad. So like, are you sure say you know till the money come out? So the boy or the girl like, call my coach now, he gave me. So they're like, wow, this thing is making money, definitely the future will be bright and clear. So that's one of the first conviction they had, like, if this thing really bring money for my child, then why is he not doing it? So I think their only fear was, it should not break leg, it should not break hand. And for every parent that's not close to me, I think they are the most scared one, like, it go break leg, go. But then I will not tell them, this thing money they there. So that's how I really convince some of them. So far, I think God has been good to us. Even the most difficult trick we had, like riding on the bear boat, so I can tell that we only had like maybe 10% of injury out of 100. so we don't always have a critical injury or anything. When I started, my first goal was to make unicycle a global image, like for example in Nigeria. So when I met the International Federation, they were like, they never knew unicycle sports existed in Nigeria. That the two things they know about Nigeria, one is crime and second one is poverty. That's what the media are showing to them. That, but here is a black man doing this kind of stuff. So they were so excited to support me then, because it's only South Africa that is well recognized on international level. So right now I think I'm taking it beyond unicycling thing. I'm trying to make it like a music brand, like a comedy brand, whereby there's no events in Nigeria or there's no big events in Lagos State that you will not need GKB. So it's now beyond unicycle. It's more of circus of different acts now.
Most of his cyclists are male. Why aren't there more female cyclists?
Yes, I think I'm having the gender issue, because for a female to stay with us is a very big, difficult issue. But I think when we have a proper academy, we can definitely have rooms for them. Back then, area boys do come and disturb us. Sometimes the SARS will be shooting at them because the smokes around there and all that. So the SARS will usually we run for our lives and all that. But so far, it's been peaceful. But still, it's not a better place for us, because they might influence those kids, seeing an adult or area boy smoking and all that. So it's something I really want to take their eyes from. There's no Western African unicycling competition. There's World, which is Unicorn. Unicycling competition. It takes place every 2 years. So it's one of my biggest dreams. And also maybe I can win Grammy someday like Burna Boy.
6 years down the line, with 17 students in his God Knows Best Academy, Laycon has big dreams, including owning a physical space he can train more cyclists. We hope all his dreams come true.
New York City has always been a place for big dreams and big dreamers, where anything seems possible and where immigrants have the opportunity to start a new life with the hope of striking it rich. That American dream is alive and well in Harlem along 125th Street, where African hair breeders start the day early in the streets and on the subway, competing for clients who want their hair done just right.
I love my hair being braided because it's a protective style. I'm natural, so I don't really like to put chemicals. I don't put weave.
It makes me feel like me, comfortable myself.
I can roll out of bed, my hair's already done. Don't have to worry about my hair being protected. So, the braids really do help last.
My hair is almost important as eating and drinking water.
Many American women pay hundreds of dollars to have their hair braided. So it is a lucrative opportunity for African immigrants, many of whom know the braiding techniques from childhood and who often have trouble finding work as new arrivals who may not speak English.
De façon générale, toutes celles qui arrivent ici.
All women who come here, who don't have legal papers and don't know anyone, regardless if they have a high school diploma or even a PhD, they start braiding hair until they can do something else.
African women come here to America, and that may be one of the only things that they can do here. They may not have gone to school, they don't speak the language, but they can come here and they can make a living doing something that they've been doing all their lives.
In a hair braiding industry dominated by women, there is one man who is making it big in Detroit. Salion Kouyate's family is from both Guinea and Mali. He came to the United States 20 years ago with a passion for hair.
My first love is the braid. When I see a woman with braided hair, a beautiful hairstyle, I fall in love. Like now, I am in love with these braids. They are well twisted, they're beautiful. So when my client goes home today, the love that I feel in my heart will be the same love in the heart of her husband. Braiding is my job, and my life revolves around braids. As soon as I touch someone's hair, I start braiding automatically. While braiding, I think about my problems, the solutions, my future projects.
It all started for Salion in Bamako, where his magic fingers made him the star of the neighborhood at just 12 years old.
He used to make dolls out of corn husks and braid them. He could braid any kind of hairstyle.
He could braid any style. He learned a lot during his childhood. When our hair was not made, he was the one who would braid us.
At the time, there was a popular hairstyle called Kara in Bamako, and everyone wanted Salion to braid their hair with this style. He was willing to do it, and for free.
20 years later, Salion's clients say his fingers are still magic.
When he braids your hair, you can feel the love. He's not just doing your hair, he's making you look more beautiful.
This is the first time I had a man braid my hair. When he said he was going to braid my hair, I said, oh my God, I'm about to have a power drill in my head. But he's more softer than it is when working with the women. Because I done seen some mean women with their mean vice grip on top of my head. I can't even tell that he's in my head compared to the women. Every time he did a braid, I touch the braid that he does, and it actually feels perfect.
In New York City, that perfection and the beauty it reveals can come with a high price tag.
How much you spend every month to get your hair braiding?
90 or like 100. Either 120 or 100. Oh, I spend $150 to $200 sometimes on the hairstyles that I want.
Oh, these actually got a good price because I knew the person. Between every 6 months, I probably pay an average of $300 to go to the Africans.
It's about $700 a month. So 700 times 12. I spend a lot of money.
You look beautiful.
We see more and more women from various ethnicities that want to braid their hair. White, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, everyone wants to wear braids.
Before opening her first salon called Soraya's House of Beauty, Hassana Zompaligre had to learn her craft.
I was a shopkeeper in Burkina Faso. I used to buy goods there and sell them to my African sisters here. When I would come in their hair salons, it was always busy, with clients waiting. First, I didn't know how to weave, so they taught me how to finish the ends. At the end of the day, they sometimes gave me $100 to $200. I thought, there's money to be made here. One day, the owner asked if I could bring her customers. I told her I did not speak English. She told me, just ask them. Hair braiding, miss? So that's what I did. And when a customer was interested, I took her to my boss where they discussed the price. That's how I started in the world of braiding.
Her mother paid like $100, right?
The salon is not only a place to look great. It is also a refuge from the outside world where women share stories and cultures.
The braiding shop is a place where people who come newly from Africa, is a place where they can come and get used to the American culture, learn the American culture, and put their feet.
It is one of the few places where Africans and African Americans regularly mix.
The only place where we are able to actually come together as African American and African is the braiding shop. And the only place where, as African, we can actually have the opportunity to educate African American about our culture, about who we are, because many times you find ourselves that people think you people live in the bush.
It's an opportunity for American women to meet African women and be able to learn about them, learn about their culture, where they're from, because otherwise there hadn't been those opportunities.
This job is not just about the money. It's about putting joy in people's heart. It's a positive energy that you can give to someone who is depressed.
Ça m'a aidé à connaître d'autres personnes et d'autres cultures.
It helped me learn about other people and other cultures. Every time I braid, I discover something new.
Do you have those scissors for the $3.99 one?
Yeah. So Ben has been coming here for more than like 15 years actually. He's kind of like family. I don't feel any hesitation. I'm very confident in being able to send my customers over there and they're going to be treated well. He helps me, I help him. Like he tells me, Christine, you got to put this product because you know this works really well. Because sometimes we don't know either.
Braiding is not just about beauty. Some women are turning to the style for health reasons.
So many people, even they go to the doctor tells them, stop putting chemicals.
I've always been used to having thick, long hair. And within the last months, I have had cancer. So the braiding, it helps me to keep my hair, to keep maintaining and to keep it growing and just to keep stuff out of it. I can wear it in different styles. It helps me more than harms me, more than any other hairstyle I get. That's about it. When my hair is done, it makes me feel better.
Bonjour les garçons.
Hello boys, wake up. How are you?
Every summer, Salion's children come from Paris to visit their naturalized American father.
Tu veux ça? Oh.
Ça? Peut-être.
Oui. Oh non, non, ça.
Online, they talk every day to their youngest brother and their mother in Paris.
This is my fourth child, my fourth son. I love braiding my wife's hair because it is fun. She does not really like her hair being pulled. It hurts her. So when I joke with her and pull it gently, we laugh about it. I often tell her, okay, today is Sunday. I'll braid your hair differently today, not like the others. So these moments, the time spent together for 2 or 3 hours, it's like part of our marriage. So hair braiding for me is a way to flirt with my wife. I met my wife when we were very young. She's hard of hearing, but this is what made me want to talk to her. I wanted to understand what she was saying. She lives today in France, and I'm in the United States. But I do not take any decision without consulting her. And God blessed us with 4 boys.
9 in the morning and time for work.
But no, King twist is 160, the short the length. But when you take a 170, it's a long one, like you said, the middle of your back. Okay, 170 hair include.
It's a 24/7 business. That's how it is in America.
Tell me some celebrities in America. We in France, we have Griezmann.
We have Pogba.
No.
We have Michael Jordan.
Salion spends part of the year in France where his wife is waiting to complete her U.S. immigration process. While they are waiting, he introduces his children to the American way of life. braiding increasing popularity among celebrities in sports, music, and film offers greater opportunities for braiders such as Salion, who includes among his clients the Guinean musician Oumou Dioubate.
At the time, I was organizing baptisms, weddings, and concerts, and Salian used to braid my hair and other women's hair. He did that up until he opened his own hair braiding salon in the United States.
In Africa, braids represent social rank or the celebration of important cultural events. But in the United States, braids have more traditionally been associated with revolt against racial injustice and with reaffirmation of African Americans' connection to Africa. That makes them a potent symbol for many Americans. Pamela Farrell was an amateur hair braider in Washington, D.C. in the early 1980s. She remembers well the day when her boss at her day job told her to remove her braids.
He told me that I could not wear my braided hairstyle there. It was not appropriate for his clientele. I cried because I knew it was wrong. I knew my hairstyle was beautiful. And I decided that I was going to braid so many heads that this would never happen to anyone else again. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to open a business. And when I opened the business, I got a phone call from DC government telling me I had to shut down my business because I didn't have a cosmetology license. I opened a salon for social justice. I was fighting to make sure that African American women could go to their jobs wearing their hair braided, twisted, locked, or natural. And then that was the first fight. And then the second fight was that they could open up salons. Because around the country, you know, they made it illegal to braid hair without a cosmetology license.
Today, Pamela continues the fight to protect hair braiders. Her book, Where Beauty Touches Me, celebrates the diversity of braiding and its affirmation of the African aesthetic. This manual for families wishing to embrace the hairstyles of contemporary African beauty is so central to the contemporary identity that it is now sold at the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Despite those advancements, there are still challenges to being a professional hair braider in the United States. In New York, for example, braiding without a license is punishable by a $2,500 fine.
It's not easy for us. The government is asking us for licenses. Many women hide because they do not have the license.
In Maryland, local hair braiders banded together to block their state from enacting similar licensing laws. Julie Wakoria is a founding member of the Maryland Hair Braiders Association.
It started 3 years ago, where the African American salon owners decided to go to the Maryland House of Delegates and have them pass a law that will make the braider go to school for 1,500 hours, which didn't make any sense to anybody.
They moved quickly to lobby state lawmakers at Maryland's House of Delegates.
The law was going to be passed on a Friday. We had it on Wednesday. We woke up. We decided we walk around and mobilize with phone call everywhere to every braiding shop we could get and try to mobilize people to go to the House of Delegates. We presented our case to the delegate. At the end, they were like, oh, we don't know what is that. What is braiding? We don't know what is it. Because, I mean, they really didn't have no idea. So they couldn't pass the law.
We decided not to do the bill because it would have foreclosed a lot of economic opportunity for immigrants. We were trying to regulate something that we really didn't understand, the cultural, the techniques, the safety procedures that are put in that really make this type of regulation unnecessary. Now you have lawmakers that are more well-informed, and frankly, as long as I'm in office, I'm going to fight any sort of attempt to regulate that industry based on the conversations that I had at that town hall, which was tremendously enlightening and invigorating, frankly.
Julie Wakaria says hair braiders themselves have health challenges, including long hours standing with their heads constantly bowed down and the repetitive movement of their fingers.
Many braiders have problem with the neck.
This is messing up our hands. Everybody is getting capitulum.
Je peux faire 12 heures.
I can work 12 hours a day. During these 12 hours, I stand on my feet almost half the time. And that depends on the style of the braid. But in general, I'm standing. And that has a toll on my back and my chest, those muscles there.
Like many jobs with long hours, there is also the challenge of balancing family life.
Tu peux rester là du matin jusqu'à 16 heures.
I come to work in the morning and leave at 4 p.m. Let's say a client comes in at 4 p.m. and wants a $120 hairstyle, and I've been here all day without a single client. I rent a chair in the salon and owe rent to the owner, so I stay and take the client. Even the owner has to pay her girls per week, take care of her rent, cable, and other bills. So yes, you take the client. And if you take a client at 4 p.m. for a 4 or 5 hour session, what time will you finish? What time will you be home in order to cook and take care of the kids?
There's never enough time for my personal life. I'm always here. I'm always tired. It's not easy. I cannot even travel because of business, even though I have an assistant. I'm always here. I can't leave the business, so that's that.
Being a hair braider presents unique challenges for men, where many African cultures judge it to be effeminate or religiously objectionable. Salion's family remembers the mockery he endured.
It was under this tree that he used to braid our hair and ignore the people who would call him man, woman. But Salian never got upset or angry. He would tell them, I would rather be a woman than a thief or a drug addict. This will allow me to get married and build a house.
Here in Mali, it was frowned upon for a man to do braids. And in our religion, it was considered a sin. I argued a lot with him. I even beat him one day because of that.
At first, I was told that it was a curse for a boy to braid hair, which made me have some doubts. Does my religion accept this profession? I kept questioning myself, even when I was learning how to braid and starting my own business.
In Islam, women should not expose their bodies to strangers. Having a Muslim man braid a woman's hair is a delicate issue because he's a stranger touching her hair. But there are no texts in the Quran that forbids or authorizes men to do that. There are none. It does not exist in the Quran. If the individual respects himself, is the breadwinner in his family and does that job while being professional, I would say yes. Yes, he can.
Is that the same color as that?
Yeah.
You sure?
I think this is better. For
me, a good customer is a woman who knows what she wants, who is not difficult to braid. And when I suggest some changes, she reacts positively.
It's something pulling right here, right here. What's this? Hot dang it.
What is it, hurt?
Yeah, you bet it does. But that's the pain you gotta take with the beauty. And it's my first time getting cheeky twist. Okay, what's this in the back of my head? What's that? What's that? What's that? Oh. Oh. Oh, God. I'm gonna need a big aspirin after this. Looking beautiful is painful and expensive.
And why do you still do it?
Because I like to look beautiful, and I'm priceless. Who? Jesus, who on this head right here? Who on here? Who right here? Who right here? Somebody right here on the brain. On the equilibrium. My cubicle vortex is not functioning right now.
I collaborated with African American salon owners and taught them how to braid African style. And they showed me the African American techniques in return. The styles that you would see during slavery, how slaves used to braid. They taught me that, and I incorporated it into the African braiding style. The results have made my salon very successful.
Hello, African Hair Braiding, can I help you?
Hair braiding made me thrive. It helped me buy a house here, buy a car, invest in my country, and bring my family and my brothers here.
Papa, la pizza.
C'est fini?
Did you eat it all?
Mon papa.
My dad passed away when I was 5. My mom had to work long hours to raise us. She used to drop us off at our uncles and aunts. We grew up with different families because she couldn't support us financially by herself. It's thanks to braiding that I was able to give back to my mom, give her a good life, a life fit for a queen.
De reine à ma mère.
To my friends who laughed at me when I was little, I would like to say to them today, your teasing encouraged me to be better. The little boy has become a great hair braider. My only advice to any parent or anyone who sees someone doing something out of the ordinary is to never make fun of them. There are no foolish jobs, there are only foolish people.
Men or women, African hair braiders in the United States are unanimous. Despite economic challenges and restrictions on immigration, they are full of hope and courage, pursuing the American dream, one braid at a time.
Yo Malisa jo ba fila be malibasa jo. Ah Malisa jo ba fila be Malisa. Malisa jo ba fila be Malisa. Ah Malisa jo ba fila be Malisa. Malisa jo ba fila be malibasa jo. Nko che dala kanuke, che lana kanuke, che ni che bala kanuke bi korote la kaniola. Muso bara kanuke, muso bara kanuke, muso ni muso dala kanuke bi korote la kaniola. Ali korote kanimena bi mogori korosi kanuna. Korote kanumena bi mogoye korosi la kanuna. Muso di la kanuke, muso da la kanuke, muso niche bara kanuke bi koroye la kaniola.
we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
To school and spend 5 years of their life studying law and then leaves it for something completely different and unrelated, painting. And then from there also becomes a photographer with a difference. Well, he did, Kelechi Amadiobi. He is my guest on Nurture 9 to 5 show today.
I've always been an artist, right from primary school, you know the usual best artist of the class, all those kind of things, drawing comic characters and all those. And this has always been my life. I've always been an image maker in one way or the other, just telling stories with visual art. And I mean, I grew up in Umuahia. My father was a high court judge. My mother was the headmistress of our primary school. And there was no gallery, there was no art school. So I didn't know anybody makes a living as, with art. I don't know if you get that kind of thing. So I decided that, okay, since in my house, there are only two professions that are recognized, law and medicine. I decided that I'm sure I'll be okay as a lawyer. So I went to study law in University of Nigeria. And that's when I realized that, whoa, wait a minute. There are people living that life. But before then, I was absolutely obsessed with the whole concept of being an artist. So as a secondary school kid, I had read the whole art history, the Renaissance, all the Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt. I had them as my idols, you understand? But they all seemed to be all these distant characters, in a fairy tale. Because, well, I had never met an artist. So when I got to University of Nigeria, I went to Enugu campus because I was studying law. I encountered, Aka group of artists. They had this group of artists in Enugu, from Osoka and all these places called Aka Group. Amazing. Tayo Adenaike, Bona, Isikak NCM. These guys, they were exhibiting in Bona Gallery. I went to the exhibition. I was blown away. That was when I realized that, wow, I keep dreaming about being an artist, but I thought it was a pipe dream. But now I can see real human beings who are living all their life just creating, and that opened my eyes. But then I was studying law, and I immediately got into a conflict between the course I was studying and and my passion, So I needed to resolve that. At some point, I wanted to change course, but I changed my mind because by year 3, I had formed a popular design business in university called the Zulu, like Shaka Zulu. Well, I watched the movie Shaka Zulu and I was inspired. I said, look at this black guy. Just kidnap some white people during colonial time, turn them to his slaves. That was nice, And I took the name Shaka Zulu. Well, I'll just call it DeeZulu, D-E-E, then Zulu. Anybody that went to UNEC at that period would know me as the Zulu, So I started making posters. I started making portraits, That was when I developed the notion that all you needed to do was to stand out. That was when I learned the strength of building a brand. I realized that all I needed to do with my skills in order to survive was to solve problems, So I became a painter, But the truth is that photography came much later. So at the end of the day, I started practicing art in Lagos. That was how I came to Lagos. I came to Lagos because of law school. But by the time I came to Lagos, I realized that there's an energy about this town. No other city was like it. Too many people, there was this energy. Everybody was in a hurry. That kind of thing. And I loved it. But that wasn't the first time I came to Lagos. While I was in school, I came on holidays, to Lagos. And that was when I realized that these Lagosians are crazy, They'll pay for anything. It was amazing. That was when I realized I would never be a poor man, even if I wanted to do art. I will survive. The first time I came to Lagos, I also noticed that people were willing to pay even, quite a bit, for art. So by the time I got to law school, I had already decided I was going to be an artist. But I didn't want, to drop out of school. I wanted to make sure so I graduated from school, got my BL, and then went to law school and made sure I didn't flunk law school either. And I'm so happy I did that because at the end of the day, some of those things I learned, are becoming very useful, in my life as an artist. Being a lawyer sort of prepares you, gives you kind of knowledge, a feeling of authority, because they say ignorance of the law is no excuse, which means everybody should be a lawyer, actually. So the more you know about the law, the more confident you are about your environment. You know the rules of engagement. And to tell you the truth, some of the difficult rules are the rules of engagement when it comes to intellectual property, and being an artist and understanding the importance of intellectual property and the power of it put me in a bit of an advantage, While creating my work, I knew the value of what I was creating. I knew the power of it. Legally, at least, if you get what I mean. I said, I'm going to be an artist. So what do you do as an artist? Well, you draw. So I started to draw. I said, well, what am I going to draw? I didn't go to art school. I don't even know what this is all about. So I read all these books. And they said, well, if you're an artist, dig deep into yourself and express what it is you are interested in. I said, so what am I interested in? This place is full of chaos. So I started to draw the chaos of Lagos, So I started to paint Ojuelegba bus stop, Yaba bus stop, just downfall buses and people rushing, the hustle and bustle. And then, that was it. I just started making these kind of drawings based on what I see and what I felt. And it wasn't easy, I was just there. I didn't know any collectors, didn't know any, so, it was tough. A lot of people thought I was a bit nuts, because, it doesn't really make sense. You don't know any collectors. You don't know whether people like what you're creating. And you're just spending your time creating. Creating for who? And that's the dilemma of the artist, That is the vulnerability of being an artist. You create from your innermost self, and then how do you sell it? You understand? So I went to the art shop with some of my drawings. I was going to buy more material. The owner of the shop said, these things for sale? I said, yes. He said, how much? I said, I hadn't actually thought about the price. So I just mentioned an amount I thought would be nice. He bought everything. And I got some cash in my pocket. I said, oh, wow, okay. I'm not going to die of hunger. And I quickly bought some watercolor papers, bought some oil paint and some canvas, and went back and continued painting. And that was a real shot in the arm. That made me realize that, people would like these things I'm doing. I was very sure I would make it because, this was something I loved doing. But you can always have that voice at the back of your mind telling you that, Kelechi, what if? You understand? Everybody has those fears. But I was stubborn, But those few successes, solidified my resolve, And the question now is, how did I get into photography? Well, to cut a long story short, I had an exhibition at Russian Cultural Center with my paintings in 1997. It was huge, I made big sales, and I got ushered into the League of Contemporary Artists in Lagos, and from then on, I wasn't making paintings and looking for who to buy them. I couldn't meet up with demand. I moved out of my aunt's place, moved into the house where I'm living now, and, had my own studio, converted the sitting room to a gallery, the big bedroom to a painting studio. And it became very beautiful. I started having so much fun creating what I wanted. I then moved into painting the human form, nudes actually, and that became another obsession. But then I told you that there was a connection between my reading law and an understanding of intellectual property. And I realized that, each work you make is imbued with some legal real estate, as you would say, values legally, which is called copyright, the right to make copies of it. So by law, even though you have sold the physical painting, to an individual, the copyright is still retained by you, which is amazing. So he has the physical work, but he does not have the right to make copies of it and exploit the, economic gains of making copies. So I thought to myself, but how will you exercise your copyrights if you don't have a copy yourself? If you have sold a painting to a client, he has physical possession of it. That is his right, because you've sold the physical work to him. And he may decide to deny you access to it. It is within his right. So if you did not make a good copy of it, then how will you exercise your copyrights? So that was when I discovered that a high-end, high-resolution photography was a must for each of my works. So I would find that I started shooting medium format, you know, then it was film, you know, and then so I have an archive of every single painting I've ever made. So that was how photography started coming into my world. So I started to learn how to make high-end copies of these works. At the same time, I started taking photographs as reference materials for my paintings, especially when I started studying the human form. And gradually, people started liking the photographs I had taken as references for my paintings. And then I started getting invited to, you know, I got invited to an exhibition in Mali. It was in 2000. You know, somebody was going to do, there's this biennale that happens in Mali where African photography, you know, the best in African photography come to exhibit their work in Mali. And I got invited to represent Nigeria alongside about 11 Nigerian photographers. There was this German photographer, well, Nigerian born, Bode Akimbi. He came to Nigeria. He was curating that exhibition. And he called me. He said he liked my work. Somebody told him I had a collection. And I said, wow, I'm not even a photographer yet. And I'm getting invited among top creative photographers. And there were a lot of young photographers there too. People like T.Y. Bello, you know, Uche James Hiroha. You know, Paul Jekere was exhibiting, but his son, Amaise Jekere, was representing him. And that was when my eye got open to the world of photography. You know, in those days, there was no Instagram, there was no YouTube, you know, and I saw all these photographers from around the world, you know, and I was looking at their work, you know, fine art photography, you know, creative work. And there and then, myself, Uche, T.Y. Bello, and Amaise Ojekere, we decided that we're going to form a group called Depth of Field to encourage ourselves to keep creating, because, well, nobody was appreciating that kind of work. The only photography people wanted was to make portraits or cover events and, you know, things like that. So I started looking at photography more seriously. I was like, And then people started calling me, advertising agencies, to say, we would like to commission you to shoot an ad campaign. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So gradually my photography started picking up. While I was still a painter, but I then had caught the photography bug, you know? So shoot, go to the dark room, develop, you know, print, you know, it was like that. And gradually my career as a photographer started taking off. I started shooting ad campaigns, started shooting portraits. But then Depth of Field was on fire.